So this is new stuff here. We're looking at a trig identity. The trig identity we're looking at is sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals 1. We'll need to talk a little bit about this notation here. It's not quite what you think it means. And we'll also need to look at why this works. After that, it's pretty much, it's fairly simple to apply this. Okay, so back here, where is it? Back here, we looked at our unit circle and we looked at a right angle triangle that comes from it. Oops. And we came to this conclusion here, really important one. Cos theta equals x and sine theta equals y. Cos theta equals x and sine theta equals y. Oops. Cos theta equals x and sine theta equals y. Now that means that on our unit circle, boom, boom, we pick a point on our unit circle and the x value is going to be cos theta and the y value is going to be sine theta. I'm building up to it. We've got a right angle triangle here. This means that this value is cos theta. That means this length here is cos theta. And this length here is sine theta. Now look at the trig identity here. And look at this right angle triangle here. Now remember, this is a unit circle. Whoops. Let's just fix that up. What's going on? Okay, remember this is a unit circle, which means that it has a radius of 1. This length here is 1. So, recalling Pythagoras' theorem, we can say that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Relating it to this particular triangle, we can say that c squared, which is the hypotenuse, 1 squared, is equal to a squared, which we'll call this one here, sine. So sine theta squared plus cos theta squared. Now rewriting this is very, very important. 1 squared is equal to 1. That's pretty straightforward. Now this bit here, when it comes to trig identities and this happens so frequently, sine theta squared, that we've come up with a better notation for it that does away with these ugly brackets. We now write it as this. Now be very, very careful. This does not say sine squared theta. It says sine theta squared. And the same here. Rather than saying cos theta bracket bracket all squared, we can just say cos theta squared. Now this is not the same as cos theta squared. That's a different thing. Okay, so confusing here, but please remember, and I'll write it here because it's very important, I think, that sine squared theta is the same as sine theta all squared. Okay, so this is the whole lesson. This is pretty much it. Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. And it comes from this Pythagoras theorem, this right angle triangle here. It's an important idea. It comes up again and again and again within trigonometry, trigonometric equation. So it lets you solve a bunch of other stuff. I'll just solve a really quick one here. Add a new layer. Before I go on, this holds no matter what this triangle looks like. If this triangle looked like this, it would work. If the triangle looked like this, or out here like this, or like this, the same rules would still apply. Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta, it's always equal to 1. You can see that because each of these triangles has a hypotenuse of 1. And then if you added the square of this to the square of this, you'd get 1. Now, applying this is fairly straightforward. You might run into some questions that simply look like this. You might get asked to evaluate this. Evaluate. Now, all this says is sine squared 5 plus cos squared 5 equals. Now, we know from the stuff that we just did that sine squared anything plus cos squared the same thing is equal to 1. So, without any real thinking here, we can say that this sine squared something plus cos squared the same thing is going to be equal to 1. Taking it to an extreme example, it would work for sine squared smiley face plus cos squared smiley face equals 1. The idea I'm trying to hammer home is it works for absolutely everything. Last example here, 7 sine squared theta plus 7 cos squared theta. Evaluate that. Now, first of all, factorize it. It's going to be 7 sine squared theta plus cos squared theta. Now we can see that that thing in the brackets is equal to 1. So the answer is 7. Okay, that's it. Today we've been looking at the trig identity sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals 1.